Welcome to the Principal Podcast, where we talk about how the best professional services firms grow. Whether you're looking to scale your firm or learn from the stories of founders and leaders who've done it, you're in the right place. Join us as we interview the best leaders in professional services. Let's get on with the show. Myra, welcome to the Principal Podcast. Happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Let's jump straight into it. What's the story, Myra? What got you into building Sama?
So I spent most of my career as an investor. So I was in private equity for most of my career. And the beauty of being in private equity is that it allows you to see the internal workings of hundreds and hundreds of businesses. And I saw a common thread. So you invest in extremely talented people. You pay a lot for them. Human, like this cost of salary is the biggest line in a lot of for a lot of company, but you don't know how to unlock their potential. So you're not getting 100% or even 90%. You're seeing a lot of churn, and you're not unlocking the potential to also get the most for your organization, whether it's innovation, there's so much that can be done, whether it's entrepreneurs. And I wanted to unlock that within the flow of work. And so much is put on the shoulders of managers. So they're supposed to be the best manager for each of their team members and provide that team member with the right resource at the right time. But it's very difficult to do that. And it's actually quite impossible. And you have an inherent conflict of interest as well. So effectively, I wanted to give employees agency in order to better navigate their organization, while at the same time being able to see what are the key trends and challenges within the organization. How can you be a better organization, a higher performing, really starting with people. And so looking at data, looking at trends, aligning the learning initiatives with the true business impact was very important. So what we did is, what Sama is effectively a digital coaching platform that integrates and is at the junction of performance management and data analytics. So it takes all of that into account in order not only to be a better employer, a more profitable, higher performing employer, but also to have people who are ultimately happier working with you.
So what's the problem that Sama helps solving exactly? Like, what is the outcome of people using the platform? And I guess there is a bit of a marketplace aspect as well. So can you describe kind of both ends of the spectrum?
Yeah, not quite a marketplace. We could say it's a marketplace if you're thinking of a very curated marketplace, because what we do is one of our specialty is really hunting down and selecting outstanding coaches around the world. So we pride ourselves with having some of the best coaches around the world. We have a very specific vetting process. And then because of our platform and the way that we measure data, we're able to identify what success is. But ultimately, what we do is really help companies be higher performing. So that impacts sales, cost, and profitability, ultimately, because your people are the drivers of that.
Okay, so higher productivity, better results on your sales team. That's the idea of like the outcome of what Sama helps achieve for organizations.
Yeah, so if we take a sales team, that's a very good example. So if you take a sales team, if we are working with a sales team, yes, we're going to look at the productivity outcome. Are they meeting target? Are they building pipeline? Are they converting? Whether it's a traditional sales team or whether it's a fundraising team. So we're looking at all of that. What's the retention as well? So we're looking at those metrics, and we're also looking at employee turnover versus target versus their industry. So we're really looking at the business outcomes and what it means for the organization in dollar value as well.
What about the coaches? Why? So you're selecting and creating the best coaches in the world, dare I say? Um, what's in it for them?
So a big challenge for coaches is you spend so much time trying to get business. So when you're thinking about it, you're not an expert at getting leads, at building business. So we take all that away for you. Also, we take all the admin away. Now, we work with coaches who tend to have a portfolio career. So they can be teachers, they can be consultants, they can be, they can have other training companies. So they don't work with Sama only. We work with people where this is a portion of their business, and it allows these individuals to have a very, very rich and diverse career and practice with Sama, because we also ensure that the match is exceptional. So our algorithm and the way that we vet coaches and what variables we take into account in order to match coaches with the coachee and the company provides a lot of success. So it's quite pleasurable for the coaches also to be working with individuals who are a good match, who are extremely motivated, and the tool and the platform facilitates also that level of success and impact from the coach.
So is there a specific, it's interesting. So let's start with the corporation side first, or the coachee side first, let's call it this way. Is there a particular vertical, industry, company size that you target? Like, who are the users of Sama?
Yeah, so we're not B2C, so we're purely B2B. So we sell to enterprise who then offer this to their employees. We tend to work with companies that are high performing. So 65% more or less of our clients are within the financial industry, and they tend to be global organization. So our coachees are global. So we have coachees in Japan, in Brazil, in the US, in UK, like all over the world. But the companies tend to be within that, high performing industries, even though we're industry agnostic. So we do have clients in other industries. I would say that the common thread is really having a growth mindset and really having the human at the center of the company's performance.
Okay, so that's on the company side. On the company's side, on the coach's side, what are we looking at? Leadership coaches, sales coaches, any type of coach?
Yeah, so we work with executive coaches. So all of our coaches need to be accredited, at least with the ICF. So our coaches have an average of 10 years of coaching, executive coaching experience within enterprise corporation. And before that, on average, there's 22 years of professional experience, including in leadership role, and they have demonstrated success in their career. And we take into account so many different things in order to do the right match, which includes background, experience, specialization, in order to match the coach with the company and the employee.
That makes a lot of sense. So, very curious about the marketing model, Myra. So, how do you, because you have so many people to touch, right? You have the decision makers within the corporations, the financial services firms, the high performing teams, and you're addressing very specific forward thinking CHROs, I suspect, head of L&Ds, people who will make a decision of going through a platform to find the best coaches in the world. But then you also need the buy-in of the people that the coaches are going to end up working with. You need to attract coaches, the best only. So how do you think about branding, marketing, and what gets people through the door? I'm not talking about sales just yet.
Yeah.
I'm really talking about attracting those very high level people and companies.
So let's start with the coaches. So let's start with these partners. So we look at that whole value chain as different partners. So let's look at our coach partners. So we have on a weekly basis around 400 applicants. The coach, the qualified or accredited coach pool is growing at around 20% year on year. So it's enormous. So there's a lot of people who want to be coaches. It's not a regulated industry, but there are certifications that we definitely abide by and that are extremely important for us. So we hunt coaches down. So we have a less than 2.5% pass-through rate. So it's actually harder than to get into Harvard, apparently. So it's actually quite difficult to be a coach on Sama. And for us, not only do we hire excellent coaches, but in order to remain on the Sama platform, they have to continuously showcase real impact and success. The client base comes a lot through referrals. So we have very happy clients, and we have a lot of success with our clients and impact. So we get a lot of clients through referrals, and then we also do your traditional, typical sales outbound, which is outreaching to clients and also going to conferences and meeting with people who could be a potential fit and who are looking for rolling out coaching and doing it a little bit differently, because around 90% of the market is your traditional black book Rolodex of coaching, matching people here and there, ad hoc, tracking things still through Excel. So that's still a lot of the market. And it's something that creates a lot of anxiety for the client. If you select the wrong coach, if you create the wrong match, what is that impact? Actually, the impact is it could be negative business outcome. The person may leave, so it's a lot of risk. The person could make the wrong decisions for their business unit, the wrong leadership decisions, or not get that promotion that they want. So there's a lot of anxiety attached to that, and the worst is them coming to the talent person and telling them I don't like my coach, or not having one session and never showing up again. So there's benefits of the platform, and we obviously encourage an active management of the platform, but we also, so that's the client side. And then when you're within the client, with our client partner, we really partner with them in order to roll it out to the right populations of employees, to measure success in a way that is truly aligned and meaningful based on business outcome. And for us, it's extremely important to partner with our clients in order to showcase that true business ROI, not, hey, I liked that coaching program, or there's X number of sessions. That's great, and that's really important, but we want to know, how has retention improved? How have the targets been met? What is the promotion rate versus the normal, the prior year, or the target? So we look at all of that with our clients.
Okay, this is going to be a completely self-interested question, Myra, but I'm curious to know how you capture those metrics before and after, especially thinking about larger organizations, right? So when you come in, are you going to say, hey, the goal is to help you improve on that list of KPIs, and therefore we need to have clear visibility on what those KPIs are at the beginning? I guess the people you're talking to are very limited in time. So if they don't already report on that type of numbers, we need to start reporting. How do you, really self-interested, because I'm looking at doing this with my clients,
Mhm.
how do you, when you come in on top of, okay, we need to strategize, think about the rollout program, making sure we match the right coach with the right team, and on top of that, hey, by the way, can you send us so and so start and so and so start? And how do you go about that?
So the reality of this is that we're ex-investors. So companies have these numbers, and it's a question of agreeing whether those are the numbers that we want to take as benchmark, or do we want to take industry numbers, and so or future looking number, because things, they may have changed that are happening, and they foresee those metrics as changing. But we're not going to be tracking something that is not important for the organization. So if it's important for the organization, we're tracking that. It has happened that they were not tracking certain metrics, and then we would develop a way of measuring it together. But it's really important at the forefront to agree, what are we measuring? And then agreeing on the timeline and milestone of doing that. So it's a true partnership, and we're there to really help our clients in getting there.
Love that. How do you go from outreach, conferences, 2.5% pass rates,
Mm.
to a conversation, a sales conversation, an SOW, a letter of engagement, we rock and roll? What does sales motion look like at Sama?
Yeah. And so if we take the traditional outbound, it's I I read a book called The Revenue Architecture a couple of months ago, and it's pretty much, I think it's one of the best revenue books I've read. But it's pretty much that, trying to get your target market somewhat brand aware with uh, very passive branding material, that may be LinkedIn or going to conference, etc. But at the end of the day, the traditional outbound motions, for this specific, call it, solution, which is ultimately a SaaS, right? It's ultimately a software as a service with a human in the loop. So for this solution, it's very much around your traditional motion, which can be mailers, calling, emailing, LinkedIn, and then of course there's referral partners as well, that we try to manage.
Makes a lot of sense. Talk to me about retention. So you onboard a client, you you match the perfect coach with the perfect team.
Mm-hmm.
You track KPIs, you go end to end, you have improved KPIs. And then what's the secret to a SaaS valued at a very high amount is retention.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you guys think about that? And how do you make it work?
You know what? Similar to any other SaaS, right? So it's really about, have you showcased value? The and it's not set in time, in the sense that there's always value to be had. So you can cover a population 1 year, then they graduate, there's another population, or generally we do coaching on an ongoing basis. So there's a swapping of a portion of the population, and then the others. We've had people on our platform for over 5 years as well, because ultimately, when you work with organizations that have a true growth mindset, and where human continuous evolution and learning is important for them, that also happens.
That makes sense. Talk to me about the coaches. Is there like a retention KPI or metric with the coaches? Do they tend to stick?
Yeah.
How does it work on that side?
Yeah. So we have, I mean, we have, I believe, we've had 2% churn since I believe that's still the stat. I looked at it a little while back though, but we had 2% churn since the inception of Sama. So it's very low. It's very low. We're very, very fortunate to be working with um, extremely talented coaches that also align with our mission.
Why do you think is that?
I think we're quite clear and intentional on what our mission is, how we're trying to achieve it. We try to be really good in receiving feedback, uh, quick in changing the product for, or improving the product feature to satisfy all parties. And we do take a pragmatic approach to it, and try to be transparent about it.
Love it. So, and I'm just super curious about the model. You solve for coaches, you solve the feast and famine cycle, right? It's like, hey,
Yeah,
don't worry too much about demand gen anymore because we're gonna take care of that part and of the admin as well, which is
yeah.
quite amazing.
I
Because
love the way that you say it.
here we go. No, but because I mean we work with the same people, I think,
Yeah.
Mira. So I mean we see this all the time. And one thing that I learned the hard way is that high ticket professional service firms, including B2B coaches, executive coaches, they don't really like selling, nor they are good at it. It's just like they are good at their craft, which is why they get paid a lot of money to do executive coaching, but that's it. So when you solve this, you pretty much make them very happy.
I
The
think there's
question,
another,
go ahead.
I'll just add one thing. There's also another thing that we solve for, which is we actually provide really interesting work, like really, really interesting coaches. And we set it up in a way that's more interesting for them versus kind of your 3 months or 6 months, X number of session um, construct. And we also work with organizations that believe in providing coaching at different levels. So some coaches work with us because they also want to have access to those Gen Zers without impacting their brand, their approach, their fee, etc.
That does make a lot of sense. The question I have is, when you provide that demand to those coaches,
Mm-hmm.
do they ever end up having just their plate full and not being able to take on more clients, which means you constantly need to find more coaches?
Mm.
How does the
Yeah.
supply and demand curve
Yes. Yes.
manage?
So the way we look at it, there's a lot of coaches out there.
Yes.
The way we look at it, so we for them, Sama at the end of the day is not their main revenue provider, or maybe for a couple, but we look at this as a diversification of revenue for them, a diversification of revenue, a diversification of access, and we ensure the way that the platform is built. This doesn't happen because we before the match we foresee the level of availability, etc., because of what we've built in terms of integration.
I like your style, Mira. So I'm gonna throw a little bit of a curveball question at you, if you don't mind. Um, what's your number one challenge right now? What's the one nut that you guys are trying to crack that once you crack, you take the whole platform to the next level, if any?
Yeah. Um, you know, I think one of our challenges is we go, the metrics that are extremely important for us to showcase um, are not as comfortable for all clients. So, and you know, we have a framework where we have three key layers of success metrics. Where the first layer, which everybody looks at, is engagement with the platform or the training, whether people liked it, whether they would recommend it. That's the first layer, and that's where normally it stops. The second layer is the proxy to the other layer, and is, have the performance scores gone up? What's the promotion rate? What is the ENPS? How does, you know, the attrition risk look like? And then the first metrics is like the most important are, how is it impacting your sales? If you're a sales organization, how is it impacting your employee retention? Because it has a direct impact on your bottom line. Those bits of metrics are not as comfortable necessarily for all organizations. So it really, or our counterparts, not for the broad organization, but for our counterparts. And then it's taking our counterparts and helping them to articulate that within the organization as well. So that's the challenge, because, you know, when we look at how success is looked at within organization from a talent development standpoint, it's quite fixed in time. It's not very longitudinal, and those things are really important, because you want to see, if you've done training in, you know, year 0, how is it impacting the leader in year 5, right? So what are the impacts? So that's kind of where we're trying to get to with the impact and the solution, but it is, you know, not always that easy of a conversation.
That makes a lot of sense, and hence my question earlier, because that is definitely, I think it's so interesting. I think as you scale a platform or a service in that sense, when you have a few clients, I think you figure it out. When it's systematizing, capturing the right KPIs at the right time, and matching them against the right ones at a certain milestone, it is a challenge. But that does make a lot of sense.
I mean, you can automate and partner, but when you're talking about this, like, once you're partnering with a client, it's not hard, it's there, right? But it's when your question addresses, you know, from a sales and go-to-market perspective, like, that's one of the challenges, to explain that and like bring the client or our future partner on board to really feel what it feels like, because ultimately they look like absolute rock star, which they are.
Amen to that. Myra Khanna, ladies and gentlemen. Myra, if people want to find out more about you, see what you do, where should they go?
Sama.io, sama.io is our website.
Pretty straightforward. We'll put all the links in the description. I can say one thing for sure. It's that you've gained at least one new connection on LinkedIn out of this interview, Myra. We are now connected. Myra, thank you so much for coming on the Principal Podcast.
Thank you, Guillaume. Wonderful to see you.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Principal Podcast. We hope you've learned valuable lessons and strategies to grow your firm and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.